I need to read it for you in Matthew chapter 24, verse 21.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
The same thing he's discussing here. Read 2 verses before. Let them see. He's talking about abomination of desolation.
And woe to them that are with child, and to them that
this
give
is where he
suck
stopped
in those
reading
days.
in Mark. You remember that? This is where he stopped. If you want to go to the beginning where he said, when you see the abomination of desolation, written by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place.
That's verse 15.
Read that verse 15. Let them see it.
Verse 15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Yes. I'm going to take you there. You see what it is. The whole discussion is about the Antichrist and what he's going to do. Okay. Then he said in verse 21, then shall be what?
For then shall be great tribulation.
Are you guys seeing it? This is Jesus giving you the order of events. So in your signs of his coming, write great tribulation. Go ahead and complete the reading on the great tribulation. Then shall be what?
Great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
Add verse 22.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Okay, my friend, you don't think believers will be here. Who are those elect? Because of them, God is shortening those days. And he has told us how long it's going to last. 3.5 years. Biafran war in this country lasted about 3.5 years. About 3 years. The First World War, Second World War lasted longer than that. You would think tomorrow will never come in those days. You are not going to throw away your salvation because of 3.5 years of persecution. Because at the end of it, it will be over. The Lord would make everything, and then we're going to enjoy for eternity. But for just 3.5 years, if you know all the details, you can't throw away. You can't. It doesn't matter what it is, endure it. That's why I say, he that endures to the end shall be saved. 3.5 years. You don't throw away your future just because of it. No matter what it is, it's not going to last too long. It's going to be tough those days. I don't mind telling you that those same days are actually the period we're going to have the greatest revival ever. You will see. We're going to get to all that. Maybe you think what will be happening is every believers will see it and all of them will be killed. You are joking. In the middle of that, we're going to have greatest move of God ever. For example, those 2 prophets that call fire down like that's when they're going to emerge. If those days were not shortened, no flesh will be saved. Add verse 23.
Then
Okay, let's go. Yeah, if you want to read verse 22, read it. Let me comment on it.
Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
Did you people hear that? There will be 2 major beasts rising in the last days. One is the political beast, the Antichrist, and he's going to claim that he's like Jesus. And there will be also many false Christs walking with him. Then there's rising a major second beast, and this is a religious beast. He's a false prophet. He's going to rise from the Christian community, but not here in Nigeria, but from Europe. But he's also going to work with a lot of other false prophets globally to drive one world religion. If you don't have these 2 things happening, Jesus is not coming. Do you know that last year, 2019, that a major religious leader has led different religions of the world, including Hindus, I don't mind saying it, this is the Pope, to ratify a bill for one world religion, for unity of religion. In Belgium, they are going to be turning that into action. What do you think is going to happen after that? You're probably expecting that the rapture will take you away between now and September. It's not going to happen. These things are going to happen first. And that's why they are happening now, why the church is here. I'm not talking about future, I'm talking about now. That tells you that the coming of Jesus is on the corner. And then there will be 4 signs and wonders. Are we not in the era of fake miracles? But this one is child's play compared to what is happening. He said, so much that if it is possible, even the elect will be deceived. If the elect, the church will not be here, how can they now be deceived if it's possible? I want to say it again. He said they will do so much deception and false miracles and wonders that if it's possible, even God's people will be deceived. If they are not going to be here, how can they be deceived? If they are already raptured. Is Jesus going to come before tribulation starts? Or when tribulation has already started? What did Jesus say by himself? Please, you need to go back to Mark chapter 13 and tell us exactly what Jesus said. It is verse 24. Everybody now read about the rapture. Watch now.
In those days, after that tribulation, the sun...
Everybody, no, read it again. You just rushed it. They need to hear that. Is it before or after?
But in those days, after that tribulation...
Did you hear that? After the tribulation, what will happen?
The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory.
Are you guys seeing it? Jesus is the one talking. Immediately after the tribulation, then we're going to have the signs of the Son of Man. You know, all of the zodiac will go haywire. There will be blood moon, there will be eclipses, there will be all kinds of things happening. Then verse 26, then they shall see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with great power and glory. Verse 27.
And then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the utmost parts of the earth to the utmost part of heaven.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call the rapture. When he sent his angels to gather his elect from all over the world. If you say that we have been raptured, who is he gathering now? We read it, the two scriptures on the rapture, that we see the roles that angels will play there. There will be trumpet, the Lord will descend. We just saw him descend here, and all that. Then he will ask the angels to go and gather us, our being gathered together. If you say the rapture has happened before now, who is he gathering? Don't you know who God's elect are? They are the saints. He will gather us from all the four corners of the earth to the utmost part of heaven, because we're going to meet him in the sky. Read two more lines. Yes?
Verse 28. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. When her branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So ye in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors.
You see what we have been looking for? When you see these things. Remember, first one, he said, he's not coming yet. Second one, he said, this is just the beginning of sorrow. But if you see these last ones, you see the great falling away, you see the Antichrist show up, you see the abomination of desolation, which is exactly what Paul said. Know that it's now near, even at the door. Are you telling me, because I know the pastors and ministers that are saying, this is not the rapture, this is second coming. Now, so where is the rapture? Are you telling me Jesus discussed signs of the end and didn't talk about his coming to take the church? Are you saying that's what he did? He didn't talk about how important the rapture, he didn't discuss it. Somebody said that's not the rapture. What else is the rapture? Is it not when he sends his angels to come and get us to come and meet him in the air? Jesus located it. Okay, I think you guys need to see it again in Matthew. Go to Matthew chapter 24. Just watch now. You're going to see it a second time. Verse 21 first, the great tribulation. I want you to read it. Let them see.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
Continue, verse 22.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
We have already covered this. It's being repeated again by Matthew. Mark has already told us that if those days were not shortened, nobody will be saved. But for the sake of God's people, his people, the elect, those days will be shortened. And of course, you will see it in the next broadcast that is only 3.5 years. It's going to last. Yes, then
if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
If it were possible, they would deceive the elect, but of course he won't, because the elect is not going to play that their game. Whether it's the mark of the beast or all those they are lying, the genuine believers don't follow signs. They follow Christ. Even if you like do miracle, call fire down, but you're pointing people to iniquity or pointing people away from Jesus, genuine believers will be able to know that you're a force. It's no miracle that shows if a person is real. Good people will be doing miracle, but bad people can do it. What shows is their fruit. By their fruit, you shall know them. When Jesus talks about fruit, he's talking about the moral values and character. Okay, go to verse 29. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen. This is the Lord Jesus discussing. And please, after this meeting, go home and read Mark 13, the whole of it. Read Matthew 24, the whole of it. You will meet this verse 29. You will see that is after. Yes? What did he say?
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
You need to read it again. Before or after?
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you hearing that? Immediately after the tribulation of those days, what will happen?
Shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with great power and great glory. Verse 31.
Yes.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
Now, pause. Do you notice when we're reading the rapture, the Lord will descend with a shout, with the voice of archangel, and with what? The trumpet of God. Are you seeing it now being true? Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Hey. Then they're going to see the Son of Man coming with power and great glory, and he will send his angels with what? A great sound of a trumpet. And what will they do? They shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Because I watched it in a vision. People were taking off. And they were all looking like angels, except that they didn't have wings, flying through sky, going to meet the Lord. Some are flying from their different parts of the earth. God has shown me the rapture twice, and many of you watching may have been shown that. Please write me if you have been shown and describe what your experience looks like. You will see that it's the same thing. The danger of promising you, because I wouldn't want to ruffle anybody's feather. I prefer that it will happen before tribulation. The danger of promising you that is that you will fall away. When persecution starts and all that, you will fall away because you are not prepared. You will even be disappointed. I thought the Lord is supposed to remove us. What is going on? You probably start thinking that maybe Jesus did something wrong. No. There's purpose behind this thing. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Then they will see the Son of Man coming with power and great glory, and he will send his angels with a loud sound of a trumpet, and they will gather his elect from one end of heaven to the other. Then add verse 32 and 33, you will see that statement repeated.
Verse 32, now learn the parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door.
Even at the doorstep.